Hey, what's going on, guys? Serrano here. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Umidigi A9 versus the Oukitel C21. And both of these devices are really good budget devices. You can get them for under $130 in most cases. I'll leave the cheapest links down below, but do me a favor, if you're new to the crew, make sure you subscribe, get notified, hit the bell icon as well. But if you're already a part of the crew, so So today we're going to be covering both of these devices, and they are pretty similar in price, right? 120 depending on where you look. These are both globally unlocked phones, so you can use them on any carrier besides like Verizon or Sprint, right? So you can use these on either any carrier that you do so desire. They do have that SIM card slot, which is located on the left side, and it does give you the option for 2 SIM cards as well as an SD card for expansion of your storage and everything like that. You can see right here we do have a button which is a multi-function button on the Umidigi. We don't have that on the Oukitel, so turning them to the right side, you're going to see that we have both power buttons are on the bottom right here. So let me just turn this guy on, and you can see on the Oukitel C21 it's going to have a really good display. It's a full HD plus display, whereas the display on the Oukitel is going to be it's definitely not going to be a full HD plus display. It's going to be a 720 plus display. So I definitely want to throw that out there. That's connected to the internet, right? And it does have the 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi. But one thing I must say is this device for a budget price is really quick, and we'll get into the operating systems and everything like that. But turning it to the back, you can see we got the fingerprint sensor. We also do get your triple camera setup, which we'll get into in a little bit more detail, with a thermometer, as well as a flash on the back of there. So that's really cool. Let me see if I turn on the screen, and you definitely have a flashlight on the back of there with the fingerprint sensor as well. And we also do have on this device a headphone jack at the top. So we do get Type-C on the bottom, speaker microphone as well. Now on the bottom of the Oukitel C21, we are getting we don't have a headphone jack, but we do get a microphone. It's a 3. Type-C and a speaker. And we do have right here is a light sensor at the top of the device, right? So they're definitely going to be really good when it comes to the overall build. When it comes to the build and feeling the hand, I could definitely feel more weight on the A9 Pro, right? It definitely feels heavier. And as far as the A9 Pro, it's going to be 204 grams of weight versus 170 grams of weight. Now, as far as the batteries on both of these devices, when it comes to the Umidigi A9, we are getting a 5,151 milliamp hour battery, right? So it's definitely going to be a really good device when it comes to the battery. Facial recognition on here is really quick as well. Fingerprint sensor is really quick, but that 5,000, let me see, that 5,000 milliamp hour battery on here is pretty nice to have. That 5,150 milliamp hour battery is going to give you some really good speeds. It's going to deliver some really quick speeds when you're, using the, basically, when you're using this device, it's going to give you some quick speeds because it does have a pretty decent processing chip inside of here. But we'll get into the processing chip in just a second. But as far as this device, it's got a 4,000 milliamp hour battery. So it's going to give you, about a day and a half. You'll get about the same. You'll get about 2 days with the Umidigi A9. You could stretch them depending on what you do. You can stretch them to have a longer amount of time. One thing I do like is you get Wi-Fi calling on the Umidigi. The Oukitel C21, which is pretty cool. So I definitely like that feature because you can do Wi-Fi calling when you put your SIM card in here, and it does allow you to do that, right? So both of these devices will allow you to do that once you have your SIM card attached to your phone, so you can get better reception in your house and things of that nature when you're talking on phone calls And as far as the screen displays, look at the screen displays, they're actually pretty nice. We get a 6.4 inch on the Oukitel with the dot drop on the left hand side of the screen, and a little U drop, a little V drop on the A9, which is actually going to be pretty cool. It's a 6.53 inch on here, but you can see that the Oukitel C21 Pro does seem to be a little bit brighter. Let me just take off this dark mode feature so I could actually see both of the screens with the brightness, and you can see that Oukitel does offer a little bit more. It's a lot more white when it comes to the whites on there, but under the camera it looks more yellow. So that just depends on, you know what I'm saying, the settings that you put it on for the display. But they both do look, this one looks brighter, and then they both do look really good though when I'm looking at them. So I definitely can say that they both look pretty good as well. Now when it comes to the screen and the display on the C21, it's pretty decent. It's got a 1080 by 2310 display full HD with 398 pixels per inch on here. So it's definitely really nice. A TFT LCD display, 6.4 inches, and it does look really nice, right? And you do also have a really good panel on the Umidigi A9 as well. So when you're scrolling through here, you could see that it does give you some decent, you know, viewing angles. And that thing does sound pretty loud with the mono speaker, but this one has 269 pixels per inch, 720 by 1600 HD plus with a LCD IPS display. So you can see scrolling on here is actually pretty nice as well. And you know, you could see like as far as the videos and stuff like that, those load really quickly, and everything just seems to look really good on social media and on the display. So using these on the displays, you won't really have any issues unless you're like under direct sunlight. I think you might have an issue with the A9 under direct sunlight, but the Oukitel C21 you won't really have any issues with when it comes to like direct sunlight and things of that nature. So gaming on the Oukitel C21 is actually really smooth. It's a good experience. We have the MediaTek Helio P60, the MT771, and it's a 12 nanometer processing chip clocked in at 2 gigahertz. So when we go into the settings menu and we go in the graphics, you can get high smoothness, and you can see we get smooth, balanced, and HD, but we don't get HDR. So these are really good graphic settings for this price, extremely good settings for this price if you're the type of person that likes the game. We also do have a gravity sensor, accelerometer, light sensor, proximity sensor, and fingerprint sensor as well. And around back we have our 16 megapixel camera. We also do have a 2 megapixel for portrait macro, and standard 2 megapixel for taking shots on here. So there's 4 cameras altogether. So 20 megapixel on the front, which is really good for selfies and video. So we'll get into that later in more detail, and then jump into this guy right after that. So when it comes to the basic performance of this thing, you can see it's running smooth. We have mono speakers on here, so just keep that in mind that they're going to be easy to cover, but extremely smooth frame rates on here, and you're going to be able to, let's go. So that sounds really good as far as the speakers, right? So really good speakers, even though they're mono, right? And look at how smooth the gameplay on here is.
The blue team has scored for the first time. Cover me.
So the gameplay on here is really smooth. It's really quick. It's really like basically, it's really nice on here. I like the gameplay. And there's no glitches in the system. The Helio P60 is really nice for gaming. It's going to be really good for gaming. And so just keep in mind on the Oukitel C21, we're going to have 4 gigabytes of RAM on this guy, right? 4 gigabytes of RAM, but it's extremely smooth, and they're gonna check for some updates on here right now. But let's just go ahead and take a look at the A9 as far as the game performance on this guy, right? So it's up to date, right? So let's go into settings, and this guy does have some really good settings in about phone. So let me just show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so right here you can see all the specs: 4 gigabytes of RAM, 64 gigabytes of internal storage, 6.4-inch display in the 1080-23 with the 16 rear camera and the 20 megapixel main camera. Now, what's really crazy about this device is we are getting the gyroscope, the thermometer, the compass, the accelerometer, the light sensor, the proximity sensor, and the fingerprint sensor on this device. And you know, that's pretty cool. We're also getting that 13 megapixel Sony XMR camera, which is going to be really good, right? 8 megapixel wide angle camera and a 2 megapixel for portrait. And then on the front, we are getting an 8 megapixel, but just keep in mind, we do get the thermometer as well as the 120 wide angle camera as well on this device too. Another thing is this device does have Android 11. The Oukitel C21 does have Android 10. So that's just the advantage that we do have with the Umidigi A9, is that it will have Android 11 on here. As far as storage, we're getting 3 gigabytes of memory, 64 gigabytes of internal storage on this device, which is definitely going to be pretty good, right? We're also going to be able to move games to the SD card slot on this device, right? So that's going to be pretty cool. We have the IMG Power VR along with the MediaTek Helio G25 on this device. So compared to the other, the Oukitel C21, with the MediaTek P60, these are going to be kind of similar because they're both 12 nanometer processing chips, and they're both offering some really similar performance, but we do get an extra gigabyte of RAM on here, but very similar performance. So let me just show you what I'm talking about. All right, so when it comes to the A9, as far as the graphics on this device, let's just check that out. And the only thing is that we will have the advantage on the Oukitel C21 as far as the screen and as far as the graphics are concerned, right? So just keep that in mind. If you're the type of person that wants the game, you will get higher smoothness and refresh rates on the Oukitel C21. So when it comes to the graphics on both of these devices, it's really hard to discern which one is better, right? This one feels really good in the hand. It's got a wide feeling to the screen, which I really do like. I really do like that about the screen display on here. So I definitely like that part about it. It has a little bit more glitches to it, I noticed. It's a little bit more stuttery. It's not as smooth. But it's still, you could game on here. You saw that. It's not as smooth as the P60, but it's definitely gonna be playable just as much as the, you know what I'm saying, the other Oukitel C21 was. So I did notice some stutter on here though. So just keep that in mind, that there's not gonna be that much stutter, but it'll just be slight amount of stutter, right? Not enough where it's gonna mess up the gameplay. But definitely gonna be a really solid device as well. The screen gets a little bit dimmer than the Oukitel does, so I just kind of want to make note of that as well. But overall, you're getting some really good gameplay on both of these things. So just really good gameplay on both of these things. I can't complain whatsoever when it comes to these things, right? So basically both of these things are going to be pretty cool in the budget price point. If you want to just save some money, you don't want to spend a lot of money, right? You definitely can save a lot of money with these devices, right? So I can't stress that enough. Wait, I'm having a hard time getting to the most recent apps. It's driving me crazy. So the only thing is that these devices both don't have app drawers, which is kind of weird, right? So I just kind of want to make note of that both of these devices won't have that app drawer feature. And you can kind of slide it up right there, and then you can get the most recent apps and everything like that. But this thing does have 3 gigabytes of RAM, and this thing does have 4 gigabytes of RAM. So the screen will be a little bit better on here. This one has the gyroscope, where this one has the gravity sensor. But you can see that we do have a higher screen res on this one. We do have Android 11 on this guy. So if software is a big deal for you, then you should probably go with the Android 11 device versus the 10, because they're just going to get software updates at this point, like bug fixes. They're not going to get letter updates. So I just kind of want to throw that out there, let you guys know my thoughts on both of these devices. I definitely wanted to answer your questions and concerns about which one was better. So better the screen display on this one. Also, when it comes to the cameras and stuff like that, let's just jump into the camera mechanisms, right? Because I kind of want to show you what kind of software we're dealing with, because this is important. So we do get bokeh on this one, which is portrait, and we do get portrait on this guy as well. So let's just use a subject right here so we can kind of see what I'm talking about. All right, so let me see. I'm gonna take a picture of this guy real quick and just kind of see which one takes a better shot. And this is a portrait on portrait mode. So let me just kind of see what happened here. So it looks like it's a little bit brighter on the Oukitel. I don't know if it's because the screen is that way, but you can see what I'm talking about right here. The screen is going to be automatically brighter on the A9, but you can see this is the A9. The Oukitel is going to be brighter, I mean, but you can see the details on here are pretty good. Very good, right? It has all the details of the character, and then you can see right here on the Oukitel, it looks a little bit more detailed and more brighter. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. And then I'm also gonna just take a picture with both cameras, right? And this is the 16 megapixel or 20 megapixel or something like that. Let me see. The Oukitel is like a really good front-facing camera. It has a 20 megapixel on it, and then the Oukitel has the 8 megapixel. So let's take the Oukitel looks really good right here. All right, so let's take a look at these pictures, and they both look good. I can't really. This one has more color in my face, more reds. This one is more neutral, so you know, more detail here, I think, with the 20 megapixel camera. Let's zoom in. Yeah, there's more detail on the Oukitel C21 front-facing camera, but they both look good. You know what I'm saying? So let me know what you guys think about both of these devices. These are the Oukitel C21 versus the Umidigi A9, and these are both budget devices. I'm gonna leave the cheapest links down below where you can pick them up, but definitely wanted to help out anybody who is having trouble picking out one of these devices. Say you were looking for something to pick up and you stumbled upon these two guys. These are two guys you could definitely pick up for a really good price point for like your kid or someone in the family who's trying to save money or something like that. And they both won't really give you fingerprints on the back of here, which is pretty cool. This has like that glossy material, really smooth to the touch, very smooth to the touch. And you can see the fingerprint sensors on the camera module. And I just touched that and it opened. So if the phone is laying flat down and you just put your finger there, it unlocks. And by the time you flip it over, same thing with this one, right? Wait, it didn't do that. Yeah, so it did it on here as well. So, you know, fingerprints, facial recognition on both of these devices. Let me know which one you guys think is better, and I'm gonna get right back with you. And make sure you show your support by hitting the bell icon. Leave a comment to show your support as well, and hit the like button, and I'll get right back with you later, group. Peace.